And again, I welcome this morning Kristina, who will share her story with us. And so may we just welcome her warmly.
Thank you for having me. I'm very honored to be here. As the scripture read, I waited patiently for the Lord to help me, and he turned to me, and he heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. Hi, my name is Kristina Garcia. Today I will be telling you all a story about myself. My abuelito and abuelita came to Longmont in 1967 from a small rancho in Anthony, New Mexico, where the cheese and the green chili is delicious, and the field workers pick cotton and pecans. They had 7 children, 2 of whom served our country. Here in Longmont, my grandparents came to work and provide their family with a good life. They worked and retired for many years at the Longmont Foods, also known as the turkey plant, where my abuelita prepped the turkeys and my abuelito did the dirty work. My mother met my father in Denver, and that's where I was born and raised. I have been coming to Longmont to visit my family and grandparents since I was born, and I only have beautiful, vivid memories of riding bikes, being barefoot, playing with my cousins, visiting the local newsstand, and running through the buildings of the old historical Main Street. My abuelito always grilling and letting us play as much as we wanted and always treating us with ice cream while abuelita was making sopapillas. To me, Longmont was a luxury. After my parents divorced, my mother raised us until it was time for us to go on our own. She moved back to Longmont, where she works for the St. Vrain Valley Schools. I have 2 kids, Carlos and Karina, and from 2007 to 2017, we lived in Golden, where I worked as a hairstylist. As a single mother, I had a lot of responsibility. Self-employed, a mortgage, my father had recently been deported, my daughter was newly born, and I was in a toxic relationship. In 2012, my dad was wrongfully deported, and I remember I began heavily drinking. I managed to drink, party, and barely pay my bills. Then I became pregnant with my daughter Karina in 2015. My lifestyle came to an abrupt change that I didn't know how to accept. I felt so alone. My life became so confusing. I was bedridden and couldn't work. My son was a senior in high school, and I had just given birth to a new, beautiful baby girl. The person I was with was battling his own struggles with addiction, and that's who I relied on to help me. And at 6 months after giving birth, I stopped breastfeeding so I could begin drinking again. I felt so alone when I was supposed to feel so much joy, and I didn't want anyone to know. And shortly thereafter, I didn't know how to get back to work. I physically couldn't, and that led me into foreclosure in my home. Now I had to move with my 2 children and an addiction in tow. I came to Longmont because my mom was here. I had enough money to rent a place to live for 6 months. And in those 6 months, instead of getting better, I masked my sorrows and despair with more alcohol. Until I could not handle the responsibility of motherhood. So I took my kids to my mom, and that's where I truly met my destiny with addiction and recovery. I began living on the streets of Longmont, drinking and using. And I remember I stayed with my grandma, my abuelita, for a short time before I went to the streets. The look on her face let me know that she knew I was in trouble. I knew she wanted to help me, but she did not know how. All of my family was in Longmont and wanted to know what was going on with me. They had no idea. In addiction, we don't want people or loved ones to know the depths of our use or our despair. Most times, we don't even realize what is happening. And during during the years I was doing my thing, I also found myself in and out of the Boulder County Jail, not once nor twice, but 14 times. And one of those times in 2019, I remember opening the newspaper, and on the front page it read, Recovery Cafe, Longmont. Grand opening, and it shared a photo of the place where I once sat outside near a tree, drinking alcohol, lost and alone. There was also a brisk day in September, and the brisk morning midday had come and brought warmth from the sunshine. Time was passing, and I didn't have a watch to tell the time, but by the way the sky was shifting, I knew. I was there sitting in the grass, in a yard, in a garden full of weeds. The anxiety of my thirst caused me to desperately check all my own pockets. I needed change. After all these thoughts of my unraveled life only had me with the simple goal of getting to the nearest liquor store. But I needed change. I had some pennies, a few nickels, maybe a dime or two, and it would be enough for a single shooter of what I liked. But no, it wasn't enough. I wanted more, enough to wake me up and get me going. So I ransacked all the places in my coat and in my backpack, and I was doing this over and over, and it must have been hours. And I know because the sun was at its peak now. But I couldn't move. I was stuck. I kept looking up at the street that would lead me down to the trap and to the liquor store, but I couldn't move. I could go to the trap and get and use anything I wanted for free. But I didn't want that anymore. I wanted more change for my own alcohol. And as I looked around, I seen people. I thought to myself, can't any one of those people give me some change so I could have enough for what I need? And saddened at my failed attempt to get more change on my own, I hear a truck pull up. And in my peripheral, I see a man walking. He's walking up, and surely he's the homeowner, getting home from work only to ask me to get out of here. Suddenly I hear, Kristina, and I don't look. Kristina, again. I fearfully say, what? And as I slowly turn and look at him, I notice he is a man in uniform with a vest that reads paramedic on his back. And I instantly think, oh no, great, what? I'm leaving, I say. And as I go to grab my bag and dart away, he says to me, well, wait a minute. What are you doing? Sitting, I say. Where are you going? I don't know, I answer. And where are you coming from? I don't know. And where are you sleeping tonight? Again, I don't know. Well, he says, there is a place that is doing intake appointments for people who are homeless and needing housing. Are you interested? Not really believing a word he is saying, I say, yes. But where? I reply. And he says, it's called Lead. Well, where is it? On 5th and Kimbark. Well, what time do they close? 5 p.m., he says. What day is it today, I say. It's Friday. Thinking of any excuse I could make to not get there because clearly I'm on my way to the liquor store, I say, well, it's 4 p.m. on a Friday, and I don't think I will make it on time walking. He then says to me, well, what if I take you there? Suddenly, without any control, my mouth opens and I say, yes. He says to me, okay, let's go. And with a power greater than myself, I get up and he walks me toward his truck. And that whole time I sat there, I couldn't get up, I couldn't move. And when this man arrived, I just got up so easily. As he opens the passenger door for me and sits me in the front seat, he closes the door and walks around to the driver's side. And at that moment, it seemed like eternity. In my mind, I am hearing, "Run, take off. You can't be seen with this man. You got to get to the liquor store. You're on a mission. Get out." But again, a power greater than me keeps me there in my seat. He gets in and off we go. It's 4 p.m. and we arrive at Lead. He comes around and opens my door, walks me up to the doors of Lead that lead to Lead. There we are. He rings the bell. And there, a gentle woman with the most beautiful eyes and smile opens the door and says, "Hello, I'm Emily." This life-saving man says to her, "Hello, this is Kristina, and she's here to have an intake appointment." I met with Emily, spoke to her for a while, and left with an intake appointment in my hand. I began receiving guidance and support through Lead for years now. Today, I have a safe place to live at the in-between because of that day that I so desperately seeked change, and all it took was a kind man to cross my path. You see, God provided me change. He provided change for me, all right. Change in a non-monetary form. And change is more valuable than any silver or gold. And the man's name, that is a public safety officer in our community, his name is Omar. I ended up in a drug court program that was rigorous and demanding. It included therapy, treatment groups, and discipline. For 2 years, I did this, and I worked nights from 5 p.m. to 3:30 a.m., and I did UAs, and I checked in at the local halfway house. I was able to mend relationships with my family and earn their trust again. And this was all great, but I still lacked something. I remember visiting Recovery Cafe in Longmont when I got out of jail in 2019, and I went in and I left quickly. Everyone was so nice and welcoming. And as time went on, I kept going to have coffee and see what was going on, and at times it was a quick visit, and other times I would stay longer. And before you know it, I had been going to Recovery Cafe for 3 years. Joining recovery circles, talking with others, laughing, telling stories, meeting new people, being safe in a place where I can be myself and talk about what's going on in my everyday life. The people of Recovery Cafe became my friends. And I didn't even know all this time I was building connection with these people. We were building community. And as they say, the opposite of addiction is community and connection. And last year, I graduated the drug court program of Boulder County and was given a certificate of achievement by the Honorable Judge Bakke. It sat in my drawer, and I thought to myself, that certificate does not belong in my drawer. So over the summer, I was welcomed to join the team at Recovery Cafe Longmont, where I have gladly placed my certificate of achievement on the wall next to my desk. Today, I am a bilingual peer support specialist, where I am working alongside Jen, Virginia, Chris, Alyssa, Maria, and we are miracle workers of this community. Together, we provide a place where people who are struggling with addiction or suffering from homelessness, we can come and join us for coffee and conversation. And with the help of our volunteers, we provide a warm meal every day for lunch. We facilitate recovery circles where people can find a sense of healing. Our activities, storytelling, open mic nights, resource navigation, guidance to sober living and/or treatment, job search, one-on-one support, AA, yoga, free haircuts for members, harm reduction and education outreach in the community. Today, I am happy to announce that I work on behalf of Recovery Cafe Longmont in partnership with Boulder County Courts as a peer support specialist as an extra avenue of support for those struggling and helping those who are in the same program that I once graduated from. Our team at Recovery Cafe consists of people with lived experience and a true passion for humanity, helping those in need, and making our community a beautiful place to be. Our guiding principles are: we strive to connect with divine love in ourselves and others, show respect, cultivate compassion, practice forgiveness, encourage growth, and give back. Today I am sober, and I have been blessed and saved, and I honor my gift by giving back in a place where I once self-destructed. You see, when my abuelitos brought their family here to Longmont, they brought us here for a good life. My abuelitos passed away, and I know in his spirit of determination, strength, great work ethic, family, generosity, love, perseverance, and support, that is what protected me. That with the power of God is what saved me. And Abuelita's prayers did too. Today, these things are instilled inside of me. And in a community where I was once lost, I have now also been found. I now have the privilege to help serve, save, heal, and give back, for my troubles have become a gift. Today, my family is here. Both personal and work families. And I share with you, Heart of Longmont, all of this story of mine with deep gratitude. Can I close this? I want to share this. In His grace, God has given us different, Romans 12, 6 through 8. In His grace, God has given us different gifts for doing certain things well. So if God has given you the ability to prophesy, speak with as much faith as God has given you. If your gift is serving others, serve them well. If you are a teacher, teach well. If your gift is to encourage others, be encouraging. If God has given you the leadership ability, take the responsibility seriously. And if you have a gift for showing kindness to others, do it gladly. Thank you.